Namaste, welcome. One of the things that I consistently hear from people, especially women as we get older, is the need to work on balance. And this makes complete sense, not only from a physical standpoint, but also from a mental and emotional standpoint. We may not realize that whatever we're feeling or sensing physically actually is something that is occurring deeper within us. So this seek for balance on all levels of our being. In our practice today, I'm going to work in a very gentle manner on balance. Balance doesn't mean being able to stand on one leg for long amounts of time. I think of balance as being stable and your center of gravity, very often our core, being in the center of that sense of grounding in the space that you occupy, whether your feet are together or apart or you're on one foot or one leg. So I look at balance from all different standpoints, including a sense of balance between our in-breath, our out-breath, our sense of grounding between rooting down into the earth and rising up towards the heavens, the sky above. So what we see without, we see within. And so we're going to practice balance on all levels of our being. Know that you can always use your chair for additional support when we are in our standing positions. And at any point you can sit and rest. This is your practice. And approach it from where you're at here today. So let's begin by finding a comfortable position here in your chair. Try to make sure that chair has a nice back that's upright so that your spine can begin to lift, your shoulders can relax, your hips can relax. And those feet are grounded on the floor in front of you. If you need to sit a little further out towards the front of your chair in order to ground those feet, you can certainly do that. Let your feet be about hip distance apart. You may be able to notice here, my hip bones, those sort of inner parts of the hip bones, are in line with my knees and in line with my ankles. We often tend to think our feet, or take our feet wide thinking our hips are this wide. They are not. You want to create this nice straight line where your knees, your ankles, your hips are all in alignment. So just kind of take a few moments settling yourself in here. You can let your hands rest lightly to your legs, palms either up or down. Close your eyes and let's take a few gentle breaths. First, becoming aware of our breath, where it flows in and out through our nose. Letting this breath become our point of focus, giving it our full attention as we detach from the other thoughts, stories, responsibilities, any worries. Anything that you don't need right now, just let that trickle away as you give your attention to this breath flowing in and out through your nose and gradually flowing into and out of your body. And as you come in to your body, to yourself, begin to relax through your shoulders and your hips, without letting your spine slump down. Just the shoulders, just the hips. Your legs can relax, your arms can relax. But as you breathe in, see if you can find a sense of alertness as your spine gently lifts upward, maintaining the natural curves through our spine. Perhaps this first sense of balance between relaxing but also being alert. Let your awareness come into your lungs, nestled within your rib cage. And begin to feel into the expansion of your in-breath and the soft release of your out-breath. You may notice that you can take a slightly fuller, deeper breath once you bring awareness into your lungs and allow that to occur. Without force, without straining, but gradually our breath deepens. See if you can then extend your awareness beyond your lungs, feeling into the movement of this breath within your abdomen, as well as your chest. And now let's establish this rhythm so that as we breathe in, the abdomen expands and then the chest rises. And as we breathe out, the chest softens and the belly empties. Breathing in, belly and chest. And breathing out, chest and belly. Try not to force the breath, especially through your abdomen. Let it naturally expand as you breathe in and soften as you breathe out. And once you find this rhythm, we'll add our final component, a balanced breath, so that when you breathe in, mentally count towards 4, maybe 5, filling abdomen through chest. And when you breathe out, emptying chest through belly, you want to count for that same length as your inhale. Breathing in, mentally counting nice and slowly as you fill belly through chest. And breathing out, chest, belly for that same length as your in-breath. Take a few moments to establish this. You also want to become aware of that brief moment or space that occurs between the two breaths. Not that you're prolonging that hold, but simply aware of the end of one breath and the start of the next. There's no need to count beyond 5. We're looking to establish an inner rhythm, and one that's comfortable, especially over time as you practice this, one that will become your natural or normal breath outside of your yoga practice. So take your time, establish this rhythm. Gradually, maybe the ease flows into the effort, and there's a little less effort, and now more ease. Again, another sense of balance between effort and ease. Too much effort and we block the flow of energy. We create tension in our body. So we need to counter that with a sense of ease. You can gradually begin to release the effort to count, to shape your breath. Come back to that flow in and out through your nose. Feel into your spine. Here in your core, your belly, sides of belly, low back, almost this band right around the center of body. Navel can draw just slightly in without creating tension. And your spine lifts up and out of your pelvis from that point all the way up through the top of your head. There continues to be movement through your abdomen as you breathe. So again, we're not over tensing to engage and work that inner stability through our core. Feel into your neck, this nice length, almost like your neck is this column lifting up and out of your shoulders, supporting your head, and that lift upward. Take a gentle breath in, and when you breathe out, tilt your head just slightly to the right, keeping your shoulders relaxed, feeling into the left side of your neck. Take a breath. And then when you breathe in again, you can slowly lift your head back up. And this time as you exhale, we'll tilt the head just slightly to the left, opening through the right side of your neck. That's where your awareness is going to go. Breathe there. When you breathe in next, you can lift your head through center. And then exhale, chin down towards your chest. Keeping your shoulders relaxed, lengthening through the back of your neck. Now breathing in, you can lift your head back through center. If you're not towards the front of your chair, you can start to shift yourself forward and replant those feet about hip distance apart. I want you to slowly begin to rock your pelvis forward and back. So you may feel your sit bones on the base or the seat of your chair. It's almost like they're these blades on a rocking chair, forward and back. Be mindful not to collapse into your waist and core area. We're still lifting from our core, but allowing the lower back and this core area just to kind of follow along with the movement of your pelvis. And then you can come into more of a neutral position, spine lengthening up. Let your upper body gently sway side to side. Keep a sense of rooting through your feet, pressing down just slightly. And don't worry about coming too far to one side. Find that balance between effort and ease. Stay rooted through your feet and that gentle breath through your nose. And then we're just going to take the upper body in a circular motion. Again, keeping this sort of upright, lengthened spine while we move around the hip sockets. Hands can support in any way, maybe as you go a little bit wider to each side. And you can reverse this when you feel ready and move in the opposite direction. Now start to come back towards more of a neutral position. Your tailbone is extended down, but the lower back has a slight curve forward. Crown of your head rises up and your shoulders are relaxed. Let's take those arms to sides, and with an in-breath, raise your arms out and over your head. As you exhale, lower those arms. I like to bend my elbows, draw back a little bit. Do that again, breathing in, sweep your arms out overhead. Maybe your gaze starts to follow up. As you exhale, lower your arms, opening through your chest, your shoulder. Again, breathing in, you stay rooted through your feet, pressing down as you lengthen up. Exhale to release. Now let's add to this a little bit, a fold forward. So we breathe in, arms overhead. As you breathe out, fold, hinging at your hips, letting those arms release down by the sides of your legs, your head releasing. We're going to take an inhale, lift right back up, sweep those arms over your head, gaze up. Exhale again, fold forward, stay rooted through your feet, knees in line with ankles. Breathe in and lift. And one more, breathe out to release. Now we're going to hold this last one, maybe catch hold of one of your wrists with the opposite hand behind your legs. Let your head hang forward, your shoulders draw forward and down, and those feet stay rooted. Your hips, your tailbone stay nice and grounded here on the seat of your chair. Deep breaths into your body. And then with your next inhale, you can lift. Let's take those arms back to sides over your head. As you exhale, release just your arms. Hands can come to your thighs. Roll out your shoulders. Stretch through your neck. Just kind of ease yourself back into your body and anything it may be needing right now. Let's take a moment now just to kind of feel into your feet. Stretch Lift your toes, work some movement into ankles. And then we're going to come up and into a standing position. So I'm going to move this chair to the side, but remember, just so that you can see me better, but remember that you can use that chair for a little more support as you are needing to. Just try not to lean into the chair, but use it as kind of this light guide by your side. Take your feet a little wider apart. This is what we'll call more of a shoulders distance apart, a little wider than that hip distance. Hands to your hips and just kind of let your hips sway side to side here. We're again aware of our spine lengthening up, shoulders relaxed, and that nice length through your neck. Knees can be soft, feet may even lift just a little bit. And then working hips into a circular motion. Again, be mindful of your knees. We don't want to lock them out. So stay soft through your knees, through the movement. We're just working this hip flexibility. So don't worry about how far you're going to each side. Honor your body. You can reverse and go in the opposite direction. Start where you are at. Now we're going to come back through center and walk those feet a little bit closer together, back to that hip distance apart. Now, very often this feels a little uncomfortable for people, especially at first. But again, as you bring your hands to your hip bones, that inner prominence, you want to have your hips, your knees, your ankles kind of in this straight line all down. The toes are pointing straight forward, or you can think about the outer edges of your feet being kind of parallel to a mat or to the floor as you're standing on it. We don't want the feet turning out, so just kind of angle them in a little bit here, and that nice sense of grounding through feet. Lift your toes, spread them wide. As you keep those toes lifted, feel into the pads of your big and little toes. These are those front two corners on your feet that would help to ground and we root into. You can then start to lower your toes, keeping them spread wide. Feel each toe meet the floor, your mat, and let them further support you. We have those front two points on the mounds of big and little toes, and we have the same two on the outer and inner edges of our heel, or even the center of your heel, more of a triangle or a three-pronged approach to your sense of grounding. Let your hands come to your hips. Press down a little bit through your feet, and maybe you feel your thighs engage, your kneecaps can lift a little bit. We want to bring pelvis into a neutral position, your tailbone extends down, that lower back has the slight curve forward, and you're stable here through your core. Your spine rising up. Keeping hands to your hips and that awareness into your feet. I want you to rock just slightly over to the left. Kind of like your hips are the movement point. And you just want to feel a little more weight on that left foot. Your right foot stays grounded. There's a little more weight on that left foot. Your center of gravity is stable. And then come back slowly through center. I want you to work and really feel into the shift that occurs here. And then we're going to come over to the right side, nice and slowly. Feel your body shift. That's where you build that strength and that support and that awareness. So don't let momentum take over as you move in between these. Now there's a little more weight through your right foot, although that left foot stays nice and grounded. Now let's slowly come back through center, and we're going to do that once more. So slowly shifting your hips over to left, pressing down through that left foot, lengthening up through your spine. Take a breath. And then back through center. Hold in center for a moment just to check that momentum isn't taking over and feeling into this even sense of being grounded through both feet. And then let's come back over to the right. Again, find the point that you feel stable and comfortable in. Now back through center. If you'd like to stretch your feet a little bit, you can certainly do that. But then just come back to that nice sense of being grounded, toes angled slightly in, outer edges of your feet, more parallel towards the edge of the mat if you're using it, or towards sides of the wall. Toes are spread wide. Perhaps a little more challenging now, we're going to rock forward and back. And I'll stand this way just so you can see me a little bit better. So with that sense of rooting, moving from your hips, I want you to shift forward just a little bit. Notice that even I don't go too far with this. There's a little more weight now on your toes and those front two corners of your feet. Heels are grounded, but maybe not as weighted, not as much weight on them as in the front of your feet. And then let's come back through center, hold in center. Now shift hips back just slightly. And this is where you may want to use that chair for just a little balance, or even a wall can support. And kind of feel into your heels, your toes stay grounded, but there's not as much weight there. You're stable through core, center of gravity. We're coming back through center. Hold for a moment. And let's do one more. So hips forward just slightly, leaning forward. Use those feet. Feel your sense of grounding. So often we're disconnected from the earth. So feel the earth supporting you. Use those supports. Come back through center. And then shifting your hips back just slightly. Stay grounded through your feet, a little more through heels, stable through core. Take a breath. And then you can come back through center. Feel center. Now you can stretch again a little bit here. Come back into that position, and again, if you want to use a chair or even a wall if it's close by or moving towards a wall, and having that support ever so slightly if you're needing that. Toes are turned in, hips, knees, ankles, straight line. With those toes spread nice and wide, we're going to imagine that each of our feet are on these tracks. There's an inner and an outer track, and we're going to lift the heels off of that track and then lower the heels back down onto the track with awareness, with control. So nice and slowly. With an inhale, start to slowly lift your heels off of the floor, off of your mat. You don't have to come onto balls of your feet. And then exhale, slowly lower back down. Imagine those tracks that your feet are lifting and lowering onto. So inhaling, we slowly roll forward, lifting heels, holding for that moment, and then exhale, releasing with control back down. Let's do that again. Breathing in, lifting your heels off of the track, and exhale, slowly releasing back down onto those tracks. Let's take two more. Inhale as you roll up, and exhale as you slowly release down. One more. Inhaling, lifting your heels slowly with awareness. If you do it too quickly, you'll probably fall. As you exhale, slowly release. So nice control. Good. You can stretch a little bit here again. And then we have one more here. So come back into that position, and again, you can use the chair or a wall for support. Toes are spread wide. Now, as we shift back over to that left side, I want you to lift your right knee up. And then slowly lower that foot back down, maybe even peek down so that you're landing the foot right back into that start position. Now we're going to shift to the right and lift the left knee. Don't worry about how high you're lifting. We want to keep the hips level, not lifting as high as we can and throwing everything out of alignment. And then nice control, lower back down, peek down as you land that foot to mat, floor. We come back over to the left and ease the right knee up, nice and slowly with control. Feel into that hip as you lower back down. Planting the foot, making your adjustment. Back over to right, lift the left. You're stable through core. As you release, come back through center. Let's do one more on each side. Shifting to the left, lift your right knee. Lowering back down, ground that foot. Shift through center. Again, don't let momentum carry you right over to next side. Slowly come over to right and lift the left. Good. As you release, you can again stretch out, flex those feet, ankles. And let's come into now a warrior one position. So you'll want some length behind you. That chair will probably best support in front of you. Let your feet come as close to the chair as you can in that positioning, hip distance apart with toes forward, outer edges of your feet parallel to edges of mat. You can either hold on to the chair or hands to hips if you feel stable here. We're going to shift weight to left leg and step the right foot straight back. Now be mindful you don't step that foot in or over to the left. We want to step straight back or even out to the right a little bit. That heel angles in, toes are slightly out. Now we want to bring our upper body into more of a neutral position so that as we root through feet, toes spread wide, core is in the center, not leaning forward. So shifting, and again, you can use the chair for support as you settle into this. Front knee is bent. It should not go past the ankle, so right about in line with that ankle or even a little higher. And your hips are squared forward. And I want you to work the extension, the length through that back leg, back heel. Your spine's lifting, your shoulders relaxed. Spread those toes even wider. Feel supported through both feet and stable through core. If you feel like you can, either take one of your hands or both of your hands and bring them up towards the center of your chest, your heart center. Work the awareness into your feet so that you're nice and grounded. You're working your balance here. Even as you have the feet apart, that center of gravity right in the middle. One more breath. And then you can release, letting hands come back to the chair, stepping forward. Let's do that on the other side. Now just kind of check back in with that right foot, making sure it's positioned accordingly. We're going to shift weight to that right leg and then step left foot back. Nice and mindfully. Again, move with awareness. Remember that left foot steps out a little bit to the left and then the heel angles in. You can lift your hips a little bit, angling them forward, bending into this right knee. Remember, we don't want to be leaning forward onto that chair. You can bring it closer in if you need to, but try to let your spine lift up, your center of gravity evenly between the feet, drawing towards that center point. Toes spread wide. Feel the soles of your feet and those toes helping to support you. Letting your spine rise up as you extend through that back heel. You can stay here. Maybe work a lighter touch on the chair, or one or both hands can come into your heart center. Find those deep, balanced breaths. And then releasing. Hands can come back to the chair. Step forward through your left leg. You can stretch out a little bit, and we have one more to do, warrior two. So again, you can use this chair. I'm going to kind of show you how to, but then I'm going to move it out of the way so you can see me better. Hands can rest to the chair. Our feet are going to be nice and wide. But notice, again, that we take the heels out, the toes turn in a little bit, so outer edges of feet are parallel towards outer edges of your mat or the walls that are all beyond you. So again, you can hold the chair here, having your hands lightly rest to it. I'm going to shift it to the side just a little bit so that you can better see me. Hands can turn to rest to your hips. We're going to turn that left foot out. Toes pointing away from you towards that wall. Your hips, though, stay squared forward. Hug into your thighs and press down through your feet. Now you can bend into that left knee. Notice again how the knee is in line with the ankle. We don't want it out beyond there. Okay, so sometimes what happens is if you're positioning, if your feet are too close, we get out here. Well, this is our center of gravity, and that's not a good space for it. So take that foot out a little wider, toes turning out, and bending into that knee, or you don't have to lower as far. Hands can stay resting to that chair if it's supporting you here. And again, feel into your feet, noticing the position of feet here, soles of feet grounded, toes grounded, and drawing up towards a center point, your core. If you feel stable, you can take your arms up parallel to the floor, your head turning to the left. Stay connected with your roots. Whether or not your arms are lifted or not, stay with that awareness of your rooting and lengthening up through your spine. Now you can lower your arms, hands either to your hips or back to that chair if it's supporting you. We're going to lift and turn that left foot forward. Other side, right foot turns out. Now again, notice outer edge of that left foot parallel to edge of mat or to the wall beyond you. Toes on that right knee extend out beyond the knee. Bending into that right knee, lowering your hips. You can adjust a little bit, lifting those hips a little higher, or walking your right foot out a little further so that the knee doesn't go past the ankle. Your hips are squared forward, and as you root through your feet, start to draw your awareness up towards core, your spine lengthening up. Hands can stay resting to chair, or you can float those arms up parallel to the floor. Your head will turn to the right, looking over fingertips. Breathe here. Soften here. Find that inner balance, effort, and ease. And then as you lower your arms, hands either to hips or to the chair, we'll lift those hips, turn the right foot forward, walk your feet in, kind of heel-toeing your feet towards one another, back into that even stance, feet hip distance apart. Take a moment here, lengthening up through your spine, tailbone extending down, crown rising up. Close your eyes if you feel stable, and breathe. First through your nose, and then into your body. If you'd like, you can bring your palms together towards your heart center, the middle of your chest, and feel as your right hand meets the left, and as your left hand meets the right, this equal sense of pressure or force, bringing the two sides of your body together into this state of balance here within. Take another deep, nourishing breath or two, softening into any tension, aware of this inner stability, your inner strength, and balanced on all levels of your being. When you feel ready, you can open your eyes and stretch your body in any way. If you feel like you'd like to come to sit for a few more gentle breaths, you may do that to end your practice, or you can stretch in any way that feels right for you. Namaste.